Unfortunately, our internet is supposed to be I'm not getting an answer. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, but I couldn't hear you prior.
Well, we'll just hope it is stable from now on. Supposedly our connection is better. Getting feedback from Bob next to me. Okay, so now I'll start with the prayer. Dear Lord, we ask your blessing on this assemblage of people, wherever they are. We have all come together in this way to receive information, guidance, in this evening. Amen. We surround ourselves with the white light of truth. Nothing but that which is of the truth or for our good shall approach us. For we are children of God, and he will protect us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Hi, everybody. How is everybody this evening?
Good.
You're all good? That's
good.
good. And your ohms were very beautiful today and very strong. I really could hear them very well. And thank you so much for those ohms. I appreciate it. It gives me lots of energy and makes me want to even talk to you more. So I hope everybody is well today. And I am going first to get you all a healer to be with you while the evening is going on. And as we have said in the past, and as you already know, that if you want to send healing to someone, you can just ask your healer to send it to whomever you name, and they will take care of that while they're also giving you a healing. One moment, please. Everybody's healers are ready, and now I will go get Ron Carr. One moment, please. Good evening. It is I, Ron Carr. It is my pleasure to be with you in this evening. Many things have been going on of late. You have had many stresses, stressors. Things are constantly changing a little bit. You would wish to have more freedom in your life. These are all things for you to think about, not to just endure. They are things for you to think about. You must think about, what if you lived in a place where you had many restrictions all the time? Are you not fortunate to live where you live? You have the freedom to do what you wish. You have the freedom to believe what you believe. And you have the freedom to implement your ideas and to take actions on your own behalf in your own way. You can take actions to improve your life. There are many societies in which options are limited. It is not just a matter of law that they are limited, but they are limited in opportunity. They are limited by finances. They are limited friendly laws and regulations, let us put it that way, regulations, where people are restricted because they simply do not have opportunities. It isn't so much a matter of law, it's just that the opportunities don't exist because in their societies, there are just not availability. There is just not the availability of opportunities, and it is very hard for individuals to make their own opportunities and to create their own opportunities. They just barely have enough money to feed themselves to do what they need to do. And so they are not as free as you are, because one of the things, the truths that you have to appreciate, and I'm sure you do, is that money is freedom. And you may to do what you want to do, that you have options, and that you are free to enjoy different things in your life. You have choices. Choices do not come easily. There are many people who do not have choices. And it is important for you to honor your choices and be pleased with your choices and to take action on your choices. For you see, sometimes it is hard with choices. I know that sometimes the choices that come to you may make you happy, but may make someone else unhappy. And you may have a desire to please someone else. And so the choice is difficult for you. And you may avoid making the choice, and suddenly it defaults to something else. You have not made a choice, but a decision was made for you by circumstances. I am bringing this to your attention because there are many choices you have at this time in your life. There are those choices concerning the virus, how often you go out, do you wear a mask, where do you go, do you greet your friends that you have loved so much and always shared intimate contact, however brief, however friendly, but now you are discouraged from doing so. These are personal choices for you, whether you choose to make these choices. You may just default to whatever is required of you or expected of you. But it is truly your choice on whether you want to do what is required of you and what is expected of you. And what are you doing for the other people around you? Are you helping them through your choices? Are you hindering them? Just a short lecture about enjoying your freedoms and having those opportunities to make choices. Do not avoid your choices. Take your choices and honor your choices by taking the actions that you need to fulfill these choices. For it is in making choices that you have true freedom. And you can create for yourself abundance of friends, abundance of family members by adopting, so to speak, friends into your family. You can create love in your life through your actions. And this too is a choice. Do you wish to give and extend loving thoughts to all those around you? Do you love yourself enough to do what is best for yourself at all times? For in truth, there are relationships that you all have which are not as good for you as other relationships. Relationships can be toxic. That means they don't make you feel better. As much as you might wish to love someone and give them the best that you can, they may not be in the right frame of mind. It may not be within their personality or their mind to be conscious in the same way of yourself. And so they may make demands upon you, which cause you difficulties that you must try to help them, you think. And so they cause you difficulties, and they do not make you happier to have these relationships. Therefore, within yourself, you sometimes have to take the actions that you need to separate yourself from these others that do not uplift your life and make your life better, but may cause strain or problems for yourself. It is always good to love yourself enough to avoid the relationships that make you unhappy or cause you to feel less than you are. And so in this day, I'm just reminding you of your choices and your possibilities that exist in your life, to be grateful for that which you have, to utilize your willpower and your right to make decisions for yourself, your willpower to get things done the way you want them to be done, to follow your heart in every way, to make yourself happy. For when you follow your heart, when you make yourself happy, you create good things for your life, and you grow in many different ways. And so that's my brief speaking for this evening, to encourage you to always look to yourself, to do what is best for yourself first, and then to give freely, lovingly to others. Are there any questions you would like to ask?
Hi, this is Isabel. I have a question, if I may.
Of course.
So I'm speaking, I have a question about the present situation on Earth, but specifically the United States. Do you feel that things are going to get worse before we see any betterment? I feel I'm picking up this sadness and hopelessness, and I don't feel that it's necessarily about me per se. It's more of a collective emotion, and at times I just sense that things are going to get way worse before they're going to get better, and I'm just concerned for the people of the earth, that how are we going to deal with the chaos if indeed things are going to get worse? I fear that a lot of people may not be able to handle it, and that there's going to be great suffering on the earth.
Well, of course, there could be great suffering on the earth. But the most important thing to remember about suffering is that suffering is a choice, and it is usually chosen sometimes by default. You don't necessarily choose to suffer, but you avoid making decisions, such as I spoke about in my little talk. You avoided making a decision, and you avoid confrontation, perhaps. You avoid dealing with things, and so you allow things outside yourself to determine what your choices are and what actions you must take. And so when these are not in accord with what you like, that is when you decide that you are choosing suffering, because you're not taking the actions which will help you to achieve what you want to do and to enjoy your life. And so your choice, whether you realize you have actively chosen it or not, is to suffer. Now, suffering is also a state of mind. It's a state of continual judgment that this isn't right. This should not be. I should not have to. This causes you unhappiness. Your mind is thinking unhappy thoughts in this way. As well as you're not being responsible for yourself, you are making judgments as to those things that are outside of yourself, as to their rightness and their wrongness. And many times you are not in control of those things. You may make a judgment, it is wrong, but you do not have the power to change the situation. You must put up with it. So therefore, you need to change your perception. Perhaps it is not exactly the right thing. Perhaps you can think that this is temporary in nature and will change soon, and you can do whatever you can do to change what is going on around you. If you have the right to vote, on a question or a law, then take the right to vote and make sure you do so in such a way that you at least are putting your information, your thoughts, your ideas forward by taking the action to vote. That is an action that you take. Now, you may be in the minority. You do not know. You can only do the best that you can, but you have taken that action and to make a change. And then you can investigate, are there other things that can you change? And of course, the one thing you can change is the way you look at this. You can always stop saying, this is wrong, this should not be. And you can accept that this is what it is now. And how do I deal with this situation to bring about my best interest, my highest interest, my best good? What can I do to make this life better for me under the situation that I am going through? And this, I tell you, will stop you from feeling anguish and suffering, because at least you are thinking of ways to improve your situation, to get along under new laws or new restrictions such as you currently have, as traveling and going places. And there are many options which are not open to yourself, and there are things probably you would not want to do if you are worried about contracting the virus. You would want to avoid situations in which you may be exposed. And so these are your choices. And you are making the best of the situation as it is. And when you make choices and you honor those choices, then you usually feel better about yourself and what you are doing and the life that you are living. You know, everyone on earth is subject to gravity. Many people might like to fly like a bird, be able to take off at any time, to soar, such as the large birds do, high above everyone else, the crows and the vultures, and look down on the earth. And you see the birds starting around your yard. You would like to fly. Unfortunately, you were not born in a body that is able to fly on its own. Do you regret that? Are you unhappy over that? Of course not. You have accepted that from the time you were very little, when you might even have attempted to jump off things and see if you could fly. But knowing now that this is not possible, you do not get upset about it. You merely accept it, and you plan your life in such a way that if you want to fly, you use a device to help you fly, either something called like a parachute or a foil of some sort, or you use an airplane. And it is not quite what you would like to be, but you accept it as it is. And that is accepting things, making the law the way it is. The law of gravity always supersedes your desire to fly. But you are accustomed to it, and you make do without the ability to fly. And you are happy in the life on the ground, because this is your life, and you do what you can on the ground. So when you worry about other people who may not adapt, for the most part, people will adapt in whatever way they can. What you are feeling could be from the people that are around you the most. You may be feeling their despair, and you may be feeling in such a way that it's a level of psychic ability in a sense. And it is awareness of other people's feelings. You may not be feeling that way yourself, but your awareness of other people allows you to feel how they feel. And so therefore, you are assuming that those who are around you who feel this way, you may be assuming that this represents a greater number of people than it actually does. It could even represent just one person that is close to you in your environment. Not necessarily a friend, not necessarily a relative or someone you know intimately, but just who may be in your environment, who lives nearby to yourself. whose path you may cross many times during the day. And this is what gives you that sensation of hopelessness and despair, because it can be what someone else is feeling. And as long as you accept this as not being your feelings, as you continue to be optimistic and happy in your own life because you take the actions that make you happy, then it is all right. You can simply say, I am not going to pay attention to this despair that some people feel. I feel bad for them. I would like to help them. I will send them love. And you can send out love to people who are in despair over this situation. Now, your political situation is very conflicted. There are many people fighting, so to speak, for their ideas of what is best. You have two political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, with different ideas of what should be done and different ways of trying to achieve there is a power struggle going on, something that happens a great deal on Earth. People like to think or like to try to achieve power over another. They either wish to achieve power because they believe they know what is best for you and they can tell you what to do, or they could be just simply wanting to feel powerful and wanting to be important. And it was, as someone I had heard said, it was nice to be called president. He was not the president of the United States. He was merely president in an organization, but he enjoyed his role. It gave him a feeling of importance. And this is something you must realize, that many people desire to have power over another for two reasons in main. One, they think if they can persuade you to act as they would like you to act, then they think they will be happy. They won't, but they think they will, because unhappiness is found within yourself. Happiness is also found within yourself. And if they are worried that other people are unhappy, or they feel that they are unhappy because they don't like the way other people act, they will never be able to control them sufficiently enough to be happy within themselves. So they must learn to be happy by examining their own actions and their own thoughts and knowing that they are in control, and by making the decision to be happy. You see, happiness is as much a decision as it is anything else. You can just decide, I'm going to be happy. And when you make that decision, a real decision to be happy, you will start to look around and find things to be happy about. You can be happy that it's a beautiful day. You can be happy that it is raining because the ground needs the rain. You can be happy over anything that you determine to be happy about. You can be happy because you don't have to go to work. You can be happy because you do go to work. It does not matter. When you determine that you want to be happy and you look for things to be happy about, the things that you can be happy about are as varied as you can possibly imagine. And as many people as there are in the world, there are that many different things to be happy about. Each person will have their own level of happiness that they can embrace. And I have gone on rather long on your question, but do you feel you have received enough of an answer?
Yes, yes, very much so. Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome. It has been my pleasure to speak to you. Are
Thank
there
you.
any other questions?
Yes, I was wondering why it is that we reincarnate. Why do we keep reincarnating?
Well, people say it's the law of karma, but let us put it this way from my point of view. Being in an incarnation is the only way you can fulfill the most perfect part of yourself. As you know, we have been created in the image of God. And what does that mean? We certainly look differently, and it's unlikely that God looks like any of us. And certainly when you are in spirit, you do not have a physical body, so you do not look like anything at all. You are mainly an energy. And God is an energy. And so what is particular about God? Well, God is a creator. We do not have the power when we are in spirit to create. We simply exist. But on the physical plane, that is where you have the power to create, and you are creating in every day. And when you are in spirit, you know how much power you have as creator when you are on the physical plane. Perhaps when you are on the physical plane, you forget that you have great power. But the truth is, you have great power on the physical plane. There are things you can create. Think of anything, that invention that has come into being. Think of any piece of art. Think of a piece of music. Think of the next meal that perhaps you will prepare. What particular ingredients you will bring together in this meal. What spices will you use? And you are creating a taste enjoyment, perhaps, that you like. Now, I know when it comes to meals, many times you just want to feed yourself and you will eat just about anything and just clean up and get it over with because you are not interested in being creative in that way at that time. But there are other meals where you may feel creative, where you want to make something special for yourself. That's a simple example of being creative. You give a child paper, pencils, scissors, and they will try to create. They will create pictures, and they will show you their pictures. And of course, depending upon the age of the child, they will be merely scribbles, or they may be real pictures as they get older that are quite visible, quite good, quite wonderful. There are those people who want to create stories, who write little short stories when they're children, and those who write long novels or try to express themselves in any way. Some people like to do needlework and sew things, create clothing for themselves, special designs, or just anything to wear. Every time you get up in your day, you have an opportunity to create. You get to decide what you are doing today. You can go to work, or you can play hooky. You can choose to take a shower or take a bath and set that point of enjoyment for yourself. What is it you wish to do? What is it you wish to experience in this day? You can drive to work on autopilot, or you can drive to work looking at everything that is going. Perhaps it's a beautiful day in the fall and the leaves have just changed colors and are in the process of changing colors, and you can admire the view. Maybe it is springtime and you're watching all the leaves come out on the trees, or it has been winter and it is a winter wonderland with snow and everything glistening. You can enjoy your ride to work. It's up to you. You can be on autopilot and just see the cars and stay in line in traffic and not really notice anything. You can be listening to the radio, choosing to listen to music. You can always choose a podcast. You can stimulate your mind. You are so much in charge of your every day. You can change things all the time. And this is why you come to Earth. This is why you incarnate, because this is where you get to be a creator. And where karma comes into this. You may have, as you may know, at the end of every incarnation, when you transition back into being spirit, there is always a review period in which you look over your life. Now, many of you, as you get old enough, as you get old, you do remember things and you start reviewing things from when you were other years in your life. Many, many years ago, the decisions you made, and you may even ponder and think how life might have been different as you go along. But You made the decisions you did, and you experienced what you did. Sometimes you have regrets over your decisions, and you would wish that you had changed something. Sometimes you've come to knowledge and understanding you didn't have when an incident took place. And so the outcome was not very good. Now, you may not be mad at yourself. You may not be angry that the outcome was not very good, but as you mature and move into older wisdom, you have that wisdom to see, I could have handled that situation so much better. And so you always have these little regrets in every life. When you do your life review, you see your mistakes. And so now you are in spirit, and you can still contemplate that life, and you can think about what you would like to do or can do. You're happy as you are because there is no unhappiness in spirit. However, there is no sense of accomplishment. There is no sense of success. You can learn and understand with the desire to know something and understand something. You understand it instantly, just about. And you can come to know many different things. And so now you are in spirit. You've learned, you've grown, and you still remember all those past lives in which you did pretty good in your life. It was marginally good, or perhaps you've had a few that were just disasters, that you didn't learn things, that you were very unhappy, and that you caused other people unhappiness. And so you are thinking, I want to go back into another incarnation, and this time I will get it right. I will make it better. It will be a wonderful, great life. And so that is the lure, and that is the appeal of coming back into incarnation, since you are always striving to live a perfect, wonderful life. Now, for those of us who've been lucky enough to have such of a lifetime, then there comes a different thought. Maybe I can help others to live a better life. Maybe if I come forward, I can inspire, uplift in such a way that I can create more love, more peace, more harmony in the world. You may come out with one single goal you wish to do, one thing you wish to try. And so that is when you have your Mahatma Gandhis, your Martin Luther Kings, and other people who start religions, who work very hard at inspiring and uplifting others and helping others to see beyond their immediate needs, to have faith and belief in themselves, as well as to inspire them to create in their own life. Such is what I am doing with you at this time. I have chosen to utilize the medium and to speak to those who will listen. It is my joy at this time while I am in spirit to try to uplift and inspire in others. And will I ever try another incarnation? I suspect I will. But for the moment, I am happy in this role. And so I think now you understand why people reincarnate, do you not?
Yes, I do, very much so.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you for asking. I hope it was edifying to yourself
It was
and helpful to yourself.
very helpful.
Are there other questions? Well, it seems to be all quiet out there, but it is quite early in the evening.
I have a question.
Good.
I'm sorry I didn't answer you when I was on with my phone. I couldn't unmute my phone.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is Nancy.
Nancy. Is it possible for society to, evolve to the point that individuals have been able to, the Gandhis and the Martin Luther Kings and Jesus Christ, to the point where maybe they know forgiveness is not necessary because in heaven or reality or non-physical, there's nothing ever to forgive. Here, I don't think society could operate, at least as we know it, without at least restricting a criminal from continuing, the activity.
Yes, I understand what you mean there, segregating them from the rest of society.
Yes. Is it possible, or is it that when all of us do go into knowing and develop to the point that you are in non-physical, that there just will not be a society per se, there'll just be a cooperative whole?
This is a very good question. Thank you for asking. Of course, society is a group of individuals. And as long as you have individuals, you will have differences. And you cannot turn everyone into a group that all behave ethically and well. This is actually what most societies try to do with their children. They try to educate their children to the fact that what is the right way of doing things to bring about your greatest happiness. There is quite a bit of difference of opinion, and there are societies in which there is greater harmony than in other societies, meaning that the people get along better, but there is always discord, unfortunately, I am sorry to say. For you cannot mandate to individuals that they behave in certain ways. That has been the approach of many religions and many governments. They say that we will give everyone the same, and you will all act in this way. You will be obedient. You will not do this. You will not do that. And you will do these things. And you will work hard, and you will contribute to the good of the whole. And you all will wear blue pants, and you will all wear blue shirts. And everyone will receive the same pay. So everyone will have the same opportunities. These are some of the forms that society has tried to adopt, which is generally by your rather dictatorial societies, for they believe that if they can control everyone through laws and behaviors, that they will have an ideal society. But people do not like to follow orders, do not like to do what everyone wants them to do. They wish to utilize their own abilities and their creative energy so that they can create their life the way they want to. If they want to be an artist, they don't want to be told to make shoes. They don't want to be told to be a nurse or work in a factory. If they are creative in some way, they may have ideas which will help the society, but may not even be allowed to utilize them or express them or try to advance them because they are not in a position to do so. So that is part of the talk that I had given earlier about freedom, that there would be, that freedom is very important in a society to make it a happy society. Freedom combined with responsibility. You have the freedom to do what you want and the responsibility to look out for yourself as well as the welfare of others. Because if you just look to what you want and what ways you want them to be, you will not, you need to think of other people's good as well as your own. For many people who are so involved in themselves, they will hurt or harm other people many times through accident because they are not seeking to be aware. So a well-developed individual as individuals, the more well-developed you can make your individuals, the more well-developed your society will be. And it is important to think when you are making your choices about your legislators, whether the things that they are promising you are good for everyone in the society, or are they good for the whole, or if they can be accomplished well and everyone will be able to prosper and be happy, or are they just going to limit opportunities in certain ways? Well, and that question about prospering is a very difficult one to answer. You see, you benefit society through your words and actions and your contributions to the society that bring about the greater good of all. And everyone should be taught as they are growing up children that it is important to to uphold your responsibilities and to honor them and to do them. For if everyone works, everyone strives to make life good, pretty much life improves for everyone. When people do not contribute their best to others in the society, then things happen, they become selfish and they are looking only to their own good. Then there begins to be more discord, because some people's idea of good will not be other people's idea of good. You see, it may be good for me. I enjoy sleeping late in the morning, and I do not want to get up and go to work first thing. But the others in my office may be harmed by my not being there in the first thing in the morning. Maybe they are waiting for me to make a decision. Maybe they are waiting for me to take an action. Maybe they need me for something else. So that when I decide I am going to sleep late today and I am not going to come into work until noontime, I am impacting everyone else in my office or my business. And they are having more difficulty because of my desire to sleep late. So you need to temper your desires with what is good for all. It's an important idea for happiness. An important thing to be happy is to serve others. And when you are in a business and you are working in a business, your participation in that business for which you are paid is a sense of service to others, because you are either creating something, you are looking after something, keeping track like a bookkeeper or an accountant, you are working with your hands perhaps to create something. These, in a sense, are all services that you are providing and you are selling in a way. This is what you are doing when you are working. You are selling your services to others, and they are utilizing your services, hopefully paying you a reasonable amount of money to create something that will benefit others and be of service in a different way. So everyone in an economy, everyone in society needs to recognize that it is in working together that we all benefit and we all can then enjoy a good lifestyle, one in which we can do the things that we like to do, one of those in which we are blessed with the money and the freedom to do what we want to do, where there is plenty for all. And I know you can look at society and say, everyone should have plenty for all. But those people who do not have plenty, most of them in their own way are not serving society. There are people who were not educated perhaps, or did not think that it was necessary to be educated when they were young, because children can be very irresponsible. It is just the way they are. Children are irresponsible. They have to be taught to be responsible for themselves. And so perhaps they do not study in school. Perhaps they do not learn. And so they cannot contribute as much as other people who have worked to learn. And so they do not make as much money as other people. And perhaps they have never learned the self-discipline that they need to not be lazy, to get up every day and go to work. Perhaps they are argumentative, or think of any 2-year-old. What does a 2-year-old do? He wants his way. He stamps his feet. He cries. He kicks his feet. He punches. He may even hit his parents because he wants things the way he wants them. 2-year-olds are selfish. They want what they want. And so they act irresponsibly because...
So in your societal structure, in non-physical, is there no ego? If, say, we used the term ego for that behavior on the part of children all the way through our lives into adulthood, where it's self-motivated, it's not extension of love, but perhaps self-serving. Is there no ego in your social structure?
You are correct. The ego is designed to keep you separate, is designed to keep you whole in yourself and your way of being. It what separates you from other people. Now, an ego is good because on the physical world, you must be aware of what is good for yourself. You must be aware of the person that you are and your well-being. You must be aware of what is unsafe for yourself and what is safe. This is all part of your ego's job, to protect you and to keep you separate. It is part of being separate. You see, once you come into spirit where there's no physicality, there are no bodies, there is no separation. So that when we say that we are all together, in a sense, we literally are.
Are there no needs? Are there no needs on the part of any of the beings there? I mean, are you all cooperative components in your society because no one has needs that are not fulfilled?
Yes, you see, you are thinking in, when you transition into spirit, you are merely an energy. Okay. Energies blend. And while you have an awareness because of your consciousness of yourself as who you are, you remember your incarnations, but the information that is there is available to everyone, so that I myself, the person that I am when I am a spirit, while I still have this sense of being whom I am, but if you wanted to know me and we were in spirit, we could just blend briefly and you would know everything that you needed to know about me. There are no secrets, there are no thoughts that are not shared. And thoughts are directed at one another, and they are heard, felt, experienced, however you wish to say it, and replies are given. So there is interaction, but yes, you are correct. There is no need for anything. We are whole and complete as we are.
Okay, excuse me. So then when an individual decides to come back to continue to work on some things, to incarnate again, it is not out of need, but out of a desire only?
Oh, most of the time it is just a desire. There isn't a need.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the explanations.
Well, thank you very much for your asking. Yes, it is mostly a desire. There is not need. Now, many people have interpreted many things, and in a sense, they are all correct, such as you get together with counselors to help you decide the best incarnations that you would wish. there are other spirits who serve in that capacity, for they make it their purpose and their understanding to be constantly aware of the Akashic records and to be in tune in this way, to know what is possibly coming up and what is happening and where one of us might fit in, so that they are aware of births, if you wish, and they are aware of course, incoming. It is funny to speak of these things in these ways.
They're body brokers
Oh, they are body brokers, has been said. I
or
do not-
travel agents.
You know, he is calling them travel agents. Yes, that is very funny. But yes, it is almost impossible to explain the dichotomy when you are not separate from one another, but all together, but yet you have your own consciousness and awareness. It is almost impossible to describe. When someone such as myself comes and speaks through a medium, or wishes, say you have a parent or a friend that is in spirit and they wish to communicate with you, they can do that quite easily if they choose to. And of course, the question is whether you will be able to recognize this message or this voice or this idea that is given to you as coming from them. And most of the time you do not, but many people are quite attuned to those who have gone into spirit, particularly their loved ones. And as a result, they are aware when mother or dad or uncle or grandfather or grandmother, whoever they may have been close to in life, they are aware of the fact that they are in spirit, and the relationship is somewhat maintained. And so that family member may be coming to you, in which case these people are very aware because they are, so to speak, listening and being aware. For other people who do not consider there is life after death, mother has died, father has died, they expect to hear no communication, and so they do not. It is that simple. And they may not even be aware when help is given or things seem to work out surprisingly well or miraculously so, that someone in spirit has put energy toward trying to bring about what they desire or what is good for them on the earth plane. That can be done when you wish it enough. Most of the time you begin to have less involvement on the physical plane once you are in spirit, because you recognize that it is the individual's life, and while they are in physical, and that they must do what they must do, and they must make their decisions, and they must take their actions, and they must be responsible for creating their own life. We help if we can. Hope that has been helpful. Are there any other questions?
I have a simple question. Today, President Putin announced that Russia has a vaccination for the coronavirus that they've tested and feel that it works. So my question to you is it going to work? Because many times Russians have been known to cut corners.
I understand what you are saying. Yes, it is going to work, but
Without side effects?
I was just going to say some of the side effects are not known. And the percentage of, I can only come up with the word accuracy, but that is not the correct word. The percentage of people who will receive a full immunity may not always be work for every person. But
Okay.
that is true of many vaccines. For you must remember that part of the reasons when you receive a vaccine or medication, part of the reason you get well is because you have a belief that this medicine will make you well. And it does stimulate your body in most cases to do what it is you desire it to do.
Are we overlooking something? For example, when they had the bubonic plague, they discovered that it was caused by fleas, flea bites on rats.
It was spread. It was not caused by that.
It was spread by rats,
Yes, by fleas.
but it was the fleas, yes.
Yes.
And it probably took many, many, many years before they discovered that.
Yes, it was not understood that it related to hygiene.
So are we missing something here on a similar nature that we'll find out later and say, oh, if we only had more bananas, it would have been okay?
I cannot say for you have used an illustration in particular which has to do with food and nutrition.
Well, I'm just using
And
that
it
as an
is-
absurdity almost, because it could be something that simple that we don't
Yes,
realize.
but it could be, yes, exactly what you say, that people who may have, who eat better diets or maybe not, that some people may be more, you already know that people who have, whose body has certain, I will not, well, that are somewhat not physically well as
Compromised,
others.
yes.
They're compromised, yes, that is the term. That those people who have diabetes or even pre-diabetes and are overweight and have high blood pressure, that these people are more likely to be susceptible to the virus. And that is true of pretty much all illnesses, that these people will always be more susceptible to them and more susceptible to having more difficult outcomes. You all know people who are always getting a cold. They get a cold 2 or 3 every winter. And why does this happen to them so much? Whereas for you, you may not get a cold. It is not just a matter of immunity. It is a matter of thought and how you are thinking about yourself and your life. And so people can be more susceptible to having physical problems in their bodies because of how they think and act. Problems that you cannot deal with in your life, or even, as I said earlier, when you choose not to make decisions and be responsible and don't make choices in your life, that these type of people who don't take this responsibility for themselves in this way, who avoid making choices, who avoid taking responsibility, these people are more subject to illness than other people. And that is because illnesses frequently manifest as a result of unhappiness in the outside life, meaning that which is going on around you. If you are always unhappy over something, or you are avoiding making a decision, sometimes you will develop an illness, one, so that you don't have to make a decision, oh, I'm too sick to do that at this time. And then the decision makes itself, and you slowly recover from whatever it is. But if you are in the habit of not making decisions and not taking responsibility, you may find yourself coming up with all different kinds of aches and pains. You may have more backaches. You may have more colds. You may have sinus infections. You may have earaches. You may have sore throats. You may have stomach aches. There are people that you notice that they have like a spot in their physical body which always has a problem. They are always having stomach problems, intestinal problems. They have back problems, and it's chronic for these people. That's because of their attitudes in dealing with things in life. And many times their illnesses are reflections of, most of the time, their illnesses are reflections of their own attitudes and their own ways of being.
So that brings up an interesting question for me. I think we might have talked about this before, but you know, I just recently had this eye operation, and it's on the mend. I have two questions. What is your opinion of the eye operation? The doctor thought it was successful, but he couldn't really tell initially because there was too much blood in the way. Then he did an ultrasound, and they said everything was good. But I can see that it's mending slowly. For me, it's slowly. Probably in relative terms, it's not. But do you see a full recovery for the eye?
Well, the eye has been damaged even before the surgery.
Right. I mean, the accomplishing what the intent was, which is to control the eye pressure.
I believe you should be successful in that because you are currently making affirmations which are clearing out certain aspects of your subconscious mind which need cleaning. And so therefore you have a better chance of this being successful, this being on the subconscious side of your body. And for those of you who may find it strange that I use that term, the subconscious side of your body, injuries and illnesses that occur primarily on the right side of your body usually have to do with things that are going on in your life. If it's injuries or problems on the left side of your body, frequently these are issues that are dealing with your subconscious mind. So therefore, it's often not easy for you to figure out what it is you are not dealing with or why you are getting sick. Why is this manifesting in this way when it's on the left side of your body? Well, that is because it's the side that is more governed by your subconscious mind. And therefore, when the subconscious mind is upset over something or not in harmony with aspects of your life, it's possible for you to develop something more on the left side of the body. You might look at, interestingly enough, that the heart, while it is in the center of the body, is slightly offset to the left. And so that is why heartache can sometimes bring about a heart attack because of your unhappiness in your life or what is going on, that it can sometimes trigger emotionally a heart attack. Or other things. You can simply have pains in your left shoulder or your left arm. You can cause an injury to your left hand if you can have difficulty manipulating something or doing something. This may happen because of your subconscious mind not being happy, so to speak, with your life, not being contented, and it's causing a disturbance. Such as Isabel was picking up on other people's disturbances and unhappiness, things they may not even be recognizing in their life, but she is feeling it from others. And so she will not develop an illness from it, but those people that are around her, which are having this difficulty, could easily come up with an illness which will stop them. They could even come up with the virus, but this might cause them to take some time out for themselves and to heal. When you heal an illness, you can often heal emotionally at the same time. Are there other questions?
Yes, I'd like to just follow up on what you were talking about while we're on the subject of health. I just had an eye operation a week ago, and I'm healing a little slower than I would like to, but I am healing and doing well. The lag time, like between an illness we may have started to develop in our bodies due to our negative emotions and perhaps poor choices, and well, in my case, I've been deliberately choosing thoughts that are happier, deliberately learning to identify when I'm unhappy and trying to climb up the ladder, small thought by small thought, small appreciation, gratitude to happier thoughts. But I can remember times when for years I was very unhappy and resentful. I had a potential uterine cancer at the beginning of this summer, but it turned out to not be anything. And next year they'll give me another ultrasound. But I do have a conviction that I have a very strong and healthy body. But as I thought about that area of my body and why it may have settled there was because I had a relationship problem and a pregnancy I didn't want for like 3 years, and hatred for that person. So I'm wondering, now that I have learned to stay in the more positive emotions, is it too late to offset some of those bad periods in my life when I didn't know I had the choice to not indulge in those negative emotions? Like, how much of a lag time is there? And when is it too late sometimes, even if you are going into the mode of appreciation, is it too late to offset an illness due to the way you have been formerly in your life?
Yes, I understand your question. Do not worry about it, because if you have already, is past. And as you said, you had a possibility of a uterine cancer, I believe you said. That possibility was already a stopped possibility because of your change in attitude. Do you understand what I'm trying to convey? There was a potential there within your uterus, which was left over from your past. And it has not progressed. It is not going anywhere. And it is probably in the process of healing itself and will soon disappear with your current regimen of thinking and moving your thoughts into happier thoughts and continually holding this. Remembering that the uterus, of course, why would it be there? It would be there because it has to do with your manifesting the life that you want, or being creative in your life and doing things. It could choose to be in that spot for many reasons. Many times when you have worked at nurturing others rather than nurturing yourself, you may develop a cancer in those areas particular to nurturing women, which would be the breast or the uterus or the ovaries, the fruitful parts, so to speak, of your body. And when you either were stressed over the nurturing that you had to do, were forced to nurture or did not choose to nurture, or as in your case, you were resentful over a pregnancy, that this, put a potential into those organs. You have seen one manifest, but it has manifested in such a way that it is not a problem, which would tell me that you have already transformed yourself enough that the potential that was there is no longer there, even though they may detect it through ultrasound or other instrumentation. It is simply not going to manifest into what it had the potential to manifest. I hope that makes sense.
How about in general with people? Like, as far as the lag time goes, or it's just going to depend situation by situation and person by person and their will?
Yes, you are correct. It depends upon situation by situation and their will. There's so many things that are going on, and the manifestation of illness following. Sometimes as your life is actually where you are now, what you are deliberately being in control of the way you think. You are looking at happy things particularly when you are feeling down because you were tired or something has caused you a disappointment. You deliberately take action to bring about a better head for yourself so you feel better. To think of gratitude and appreciation and happiness. You deliberately create those things for yourself. So things tend to go, when you're at a good level, they tend to manifest rather quickly, and but not in a severe manner. So that you may have a bad thought or something may happen and you stub your toe, you hurt your hand, you cut yourself a little bit, not real badly. You could give yourself small injuries by accident. And so that usually is an indication, but in general, you're in good health. You have good physical ability, you've got good energy, and you're not coming down even with colds or any major illnesses. Everything is stopped. That usually is the indication that you have, I don't like to use the term high, you have transformed yourself into a higher level of being. And so the manifestations in the body may come quickly, even after brief thoughts will be trivial, and you may not even notice them almost. You may just suddenly see you have a bruise somewhere, and that came about through some idle thought that came through your mind and got taken care of right away.
I can relate to what you're saying, and I do think I've seen that happen to myself. But the way you're speaking, it sounds like it's never too late. Even if you can remember years of indulging in negative emotions, if you have changed and taken the responsibility to make yourself happier and more appreciative, it sounds like there's never a form or a period in your life that you can't affect by being more positive now.
You have already overcome it. It is only when you continue to engage in it that you open yourself up to the possibility of more major illnesses. Now, please remember when we are talking about this, that the physical body is in such a way that it ages and things go wrong with it. The body cannot repair itself as well as it should over enough years. So as you enter old age, this is a failure of the physical body more so than past happenings or attitudes. It is possible just to have your physical body fail due to age. And it could be even that you're not eating properly or you don't get any exercise. You can only do so much to maintain your physical fitness. And you are all going to transition into spirit. And that will have to happen in some way. Perhaps it will happen with your heart just stops. And then you will be free, and you will be free of your body, and you will find yourself free. And everyone, it will be a surprise. Her heart just stopped and we couldn't start it again. But it was the perfect time because your heart just stopped. Or you may develop a cancer, in which case it is also possible that something like that type of major illness, remember, you will be in need of the love, assistance, and help of others. And so that it may have been your desire upon the incarnation, especially as it seems that you're fulfilling the purpose of your incarnation. You create a better life for yourself year after year after year. But it may be part of your desire that you will be in a situation which will allow others to serve you and to take care of you. And this is a special gift which many people do not recognize is made by those who are ill and who die slowly, so that they give the opportunity of service to others. And so you need to understand that too. When you see someone in a nursing home who may not know where they are, they're not unhappy, it's because they don't know so much who they are or what they're doing. They are just whatever level they are at, not thinking, but they are giving service to others by allowing people to help them and serve them. For everyone likes to be of service to others. They like to be helpful, and it gives people great satisfaction. And so we cannot all be unselfish in serving. Some of us need to be unselfish and dependent, and know that if this is the case for yourself at some point in your future, that this is a gift you will give to someone else.
That's a great point. And I watched my mother, who died at the beginning of this summer, do that. And she was very grateful for those that were helping her as she was in the hospital. Thank you so much.
You are most welcome. And so your mother gave a gift to them also. She was grateful, but they had the opportunity to serve. And you know, great happiness is found in service. So are there any other questions? We are growing near the end of the evening, so perhaps there is time for one more question.
I just want to ask this question. For the past several months, since I've been watching these programs and studying things that I never thought I would ever study, I get woken up every single night at 2:30 in the morning, every night. Not for a long time, but just for a time. There seems to be a presence in the room, but I don't know. It's very strange. I tried keeping a notebook in case I get a message, nothing. It's just I get woke up. I feel very peaceful when I am woken up, not annoyed that I've been awakened. And then it just seems to go away and I can go right back to sleep. I was just wondering, how do you decide what that is?
One moment, please. Let me see if I can identify that for yourself. I may not be able to, but I possibly will be able to see someone there. You do have someone in spirit who, it is easy to visit people when they are in the dream state. And so sometimes you can get visitors such as that. They will choose to be with you while you are in the dream state. It is very possible you do not even remember the dream that you were having, and perhaps about this person, but it is possible for them to come. And I believe you have a male presence. It seems to have been a male in your life that comes to you in this dream state. It is just, it is best to just think of it as a demonstration of love. That I feel it is a he who is coming to you. I cannot see clearly on what it is, but it feels as if it is somebody who is there for you in love. And you can choose to identify who it is for yourself. If you wish, you can simply ask if you could please have his name or her name, if it happens to be whoever it is who seems to be there. And do not think on it too much, and you'll find that it will come to you. You will know who it is. And then when you wake up at 2:30, you can say, it's nice visiting you.
Okay, thank you.
You are most welcome. And I think it is time for me to say goodnight. So therefore, I am going to say goodnight. Remember, I love you. And now Lana will come in for one moment before and talk to you. And so I give you my blessings. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
well, that's just the end of our evening. I am been tasked to remind people that if you appreciated the evening in any way and you can feel that you can give $1 or $2 or $3 to the Institute, it would be gratefully appreciated. And so I hope that you have a wonderful week, all of you, and look forward to being with you next week, Tuesday. So we will see you then. I love you. Good night.
Dear Lord, we give thanks for this wisdom, information, and knowledge we have received in this evening, and we know that we use it for our greatest advantage and good in our lives, to have a happier, healthier, and more prosperous life. And so it is.
So it is.
So it is.
So it is.
And nice to have been